But the line is strong and doesn't shake a lot. It's not a fall off a cliff, and there's no hurricane blowing. There's even a mattress on the floor. Something like this isn't scary. Let's just run. Should I go slower? Light footsteps. Like bouncing. That day, the log teacher looked at me like I was more entertaining than the video she was watching and made me run the single line setup all day with the bar. See you next week. Are you curious as to why I'm making you do this? Of course. I can't bear to watch my son go around getting beat up. Huh. You should know how to use your body beautifully. Right now, you're too weak. Who's weak? Mom, if my friends hear that, they'll pass out from shock. Well, now that the situation is like this, let's work out some more. When I go into the later, at least I can help and not be a bother. I'm sure I can go into the right? Thank you for the meal. Did you starve for a few days? Oh my. I learned how precious your cooking was after 4 days, Mother. Right. Mom, I want to learn how to cook. Cook. Sexy male cook, not bad. But, first, don't you need the sexy part? With your body, you might become a pig male cook. Huh, my mother is witty as always. Still, cooking, first fish head curry. I brought up the dish, and stick teacher's eyes started sparkling, scary. Alright. Woohoo, okay, the food issue is solved with this. The training. I can't do anything about that. What will we do next week? The same thing. Or a new type of training. Well, whatever we do. Can it be harder than what we did last time? After a 4-day break, the stick teacher said, the training beforehand was simply basic training offered separately from the entry requirement. In other words, the blade setup, feint endurance, and cliff diving, are now mandatory courses. I concluded the last course by throwing myself off a cliff. Maybe it's because of the wild shapeshifter training, but despite the painful part, this course is much better since it ends quickly. Of course. Hey! Come up here already if you're done. The problem is that this is just basic training. A perk of immortality is regeneration. Being shot by a gun is fine, as the bullet either goes through you, or you just push the bullet out and regenerate the flesh and skin. But weapons like these that don't use firepower are a pain. That's why you said we have to be careful. You can afford to receive attacks that inflict damage within a small, you have to avoid attacks such as these. He swings like a murderer would. So the reason you pulled out a blade is, what do you think? I thought you were smart. Right, this training is a continuation of the blade setup, so, avoiding the blade, no. Deflect this. Taking the blade. The goal here is to avoid major injuries while taking minor ones instead. It's no use if you avoid everything. Looks like you're a bit athletic. I'll start easy. How can I not avoid these? Okay. If I go for your thigh or calf muscles, take it with your shin bone instead. Or deflect it to the side. You mean get hit by the blade anyway. At least I've already done the blade setup. You're regenerating rather well. Let's continue. Ha, anemia. It's one of immortality's weaknesses. So you guys carry around blood packets for blood transfusions? Usually, yes. It's better to stop the bleeding beforehand. Wait, you do it for real? I was just joking. Let's take a break to eat. Ah, I'm the cook today. What are you gonna make, instant ramen? No. It's the Uguangik meat sauce spaghetti. Mom's tip: if you crave tasty food, cook something with a lot of sauce. It's good. Oh, at least your taste buds are normal. What? No, since immortals have good senses, although your taste buds are sensitive, you can still enjoy this stuff. Cooking is a type of training too. That was training. It's to dull the sense of taste. Ah, sure. I see, eat slowly. Let's add one more. One more. You've gotten used to taking blade hits to the arm muscle. So. It's time for organ regeneration training. Hold on. Organ regeneration takes a long time. So basic strength training is mandatory. I couldn't dodge, there was no indication whatsoever. Just now, how did you do that? It's hiding your traces. If an opponent's senses are sensitive, you have to know how to hide your energy. How do you do it? Well, if you're going to put a hole in my stomach, you can at least tell me that much. I can hear you, you know. Huh. It's almost healed. Didn't you stab me so I would regenerate? Right. That's right, but, do you want to learn to hide your energy? Yes. 2 days later. Teacher, I'm here. Is it a survival game today? Something similar. It's a modified gun made of gas and specialized bullets. Dodge it. Guns are dangerous. Getting hit will cause damage to your body. Move while I'm aiming. Try to find cover, and if you don't find any, run fast enough that I will not be able to aim properly. Don't run in a straight line. Run in a zigzag. Don't let the other person predict your movements. If you get caught in reverse action, put strength into your muscles and change direction. Use the tension to lift your body. Don't get hit. A single hit will render you helpless. If you're gonna get hit in a place where it won't cripple you. Preventing mobility loss. That's the same as the immortals. Learning from both sides has taught me that. Immortals and shapeshifters' fighting styles are adapted to their traits. Neither has taught me how to fight, but rather how to survive. In whatever situation I may find myself in. Immortals need to be wary of weapons like knives that can inflict damage in a large radius. With guns, a shotgun is more dangerous than a rifle. On the other hand, shapeshifters welcome those who attack with knives. All you have to do is dodge and hit. A shapeshifter's reflexes and strength allow such a response. For them, a shotgun is much more manageable. Its range is wide, but it's game over as soon as you're close to them. They can just get far away to make it impossible to hit them. Ha! Alright, training's over. How are we gonna clean up all of this? Get up there and run across the wire. Okay. At least physical training's better than just stupidly injuring myself. You. You sensed that. You sensed that. What was that? It's called the wild bloodthirst. I see you were able to sense it. Don't do it again. It felt like my heart was gonna burst. I didn't like it one bit. It's okay once you get used to it, and if you have something similar, it gets easier. There, keep training. Shapeshifter hell training began. But funnily enough, after 2 days, I stopped falling to the ground while running along the wire. I figured out a way to withstand the teacher's bloodthirst. Damn, she just keeps it up. Thanks to my heightened immortal senses, I was able to grasp the feeling of bloodthirst with my 5 senses, and used my 6th sense to deal with it. Flex the lower stomach and hold it. Then it's somewhat manageable. Ha! He's doing it. My lessons continued to alternate between shapeshifter and immortal, and immortal training is still akin to a punishment from hell. In addition to organ regeneration, I had to train with axes, spears, arrows, and even traps. One has to be especially careful around traps. Once you step in one, it'll hurt you terribly. And when the pain persists, your brain will have difficulty working. So things that cause continual pain are dangerous. Usually, immortals fight while just taking damage to the body. That's why you have to get used to pain, since pain makes logical thinking difficult. Therefore, I had to eat poison afterwards. The shapeshifter training wasn't that much different either. I had to train starting with weighted belts and vests, and added weight using sandbags to my wrists and ankles. I also continued to train in dodging bullets and walking across the wire. And other times, I worked out my body with dumbbells. Of course, there were changes. In the midst of my training, Father left on a business trip for 10 days. What if I want to see you while you are gone? It's okay. We'll FaceTime every day. You'd think he's leaving for a few years. Other than putting holes all over my body, Stick Teacher also taught me to wield conventional weapons and martial arts. You'll learn to use a gun quickly. That was the reason. But that didn't mean that this was difficult. Maybe it was because I have a shapeshifter's physique and reflexes, but I learned quickly. Log Teacher, on the other hand, taught me to shoot a gun. Although it's a model gun, it looks exactly like the real deal. It's also good to learn martial arts, but you can do that on your own. You'll be able to do it if you watch a few videos on it. But learning how to shoot is difficult, as it requires you to use your senses. Is what she said. But I'm a mixed blood with an immortal special 5 senses. So this was also easy to learn. 2 months passed by just like that. Son, were you at the gym? Taking a week break after training so hard for a while is making me itch to exercise. Does my body want pain now? Hopefully not. You're really strong despite being my son. That's good. He takes after you. It's because he's smart just like you. Their relationships always thrived. Why don't I have a younger sibling, though? Why can't I get a girlfriend? My standards aren't even that high. I don't even want someone as healthy and sexy as my mother. Just someone cute and mature, but also alluring. It'd be nice if she's good at cooking too. Maybe has the same hobbies as me. I'm gonna go see Hyaman's mom for a bit. This late? Her kid's a senior in high school. She must be stressed. Yeah, that's a stressful time. Mother, I can't find the hair dryer, huh? Neither of them are here. Is tomorrow the test? It hasn't been long since I last took a big exam, but it feels weird, the testing center is in Uedo. Don't be late. I understand, father. My friends did wonder why I wasn't gonna go to university after taking the CSAT. Are you really not gonna apply? Wow, arrogant. Give me your grades, then. I don't think it's a shame that I'm not using the good grades for anything. I never meant to go to college. My path was already decided. 9 years ago. The day a great black hole called Hughes Gate opened. I was crushed under the debris of a collapsed building. But the moment I saw him. That I want to be like him. My mother would be upset if she knew. She said she wanted me to lead a normal life the day I awakened. Where did she go anyway? Hey. Kong Solhee. What excuse did you make when you left? I said I had to go meet some student's mom that lives in a nearby neighborhood. Aren't you curious? About what? About your son. You haven't asked once how he's doing. Well. I just want him to do decently well for a half-blood. No. A human and shapeshifter mixed blood usually lacks half the capabilities of a normal shapeshifter. So. I couldn't ask because I was anxious. Huh? What? Are you serious right now? Do you want me to throw you into the Pacific with your legs and arms cut off? Did you really not know? I thought you didn't contact me because you did. What are you talking about? He's an irregular. What? He doesn't have to be outstanding or even good. I just want him to be able to fend for himself against mad scientist groups, or something of that sort. Mad scientist groups, there was one a while ago. Bastards that tried to combine different special species to make something superior to a pure blood's power. An irregular. Yes, and they failed. They ended up creating grotesque monsters with both its parents' powers. There was only one conclusion from their doings. Whether you're an immortal, a shapeshifter, a metahuman, or whatever, if you procreate with a human, you just end up weakening the special species' blood. You got lucky. Why? You hit the jackpot with your son. An irregular. Is he weaker than a quarter? I thought he'd at least live up to half standards since my bloodline is strong. No, the opposite. He's talented. He's a genius of talents that I've never seen before. I even taught him to hide his energy. You did? His hardware isn't good, it's excellent. But more than that, he's got an excellent noggin. Don't use such terms. He's smart. Plus, he's talented. He even learned wild bloodthirst. If you're lying to make me feel better, I'm gonna bury you for a good 2 weeks. I'm gonna be seriously mad if you're joking. I'm saying it's the truth. Your son is talented. He's a genius, your son. As expected of my son. Good morning, mother. Where's father? He went out early for work. You should wash up and eat too. Yes, huh? Wow, is today a special day? Of course, today is an important day. The civil service exam is today. To use your brain to the max potential, you should make sure there is enough glucose in your brain, so people usually just eat something that they can mix into water. It's usually just something sweet in the morning, so for breakfast, you don't want to eat a whole feast. In reality, a rampant bloodbath, immortal something special exam. Thank you for the meal. Are you ready? Yes, I studied so hard that the material would come out even in my dreams. I dreamt of my foot getting cut off and my organs being stabbed. Your father will be disappointed if you fail, mother. I can see it. She doesn't want me to be a public servant, but she also doesn't want me to fail. She wants to cheer for me, but she's worried for the shapeshifter part of me. Mother, don't worry. I'm an immortal as well. Confident. Really? Okay, if you fail, we'll meet in a boxing ring. That's a bit. I thought of something I didn't want to think of. If you don't want to, then just pass. Yes, I'll make sure to pass. Music is best when tensed up. Wait, with the precise senses of an immortal. But I always say the opposite thing, turn around and regret it, but now I will propose to you. That I have loved you from the start. Love you so much. When you ask me out, don't sing. You don't need to sing well when you already have a face like that. Kong Hyaman, why is that your concern? Are you not going to ask me out? Sigh. Didn't I tell you my ideal type so many times already? Hey. You think a girl like me who's pretty, smart, and has a good body is easy to find? Don't say stuff like that outside. Today's world is scary. Ah, wait for me. Don't follow me. Appa, where are you headed? For the civil service exam. Edual. A civil service exam prep academy. They make really good advertisements, like Brainwash. Anyways, I'm busy. Go to class. Appa, I'm a senior in high school. I'm leaving for college next year. Congratulations. Don't waste your life on alcohol when you get your ID. You know you're only 1 year older than me, right? Feel the difference of age? No, that's not what I meant. I'm in a girls' high school now, but I don't want to go into an all-girls college next year. This sexy hot girl will attract a lot of hungry guys next year. You should study first. Your mother has a lot of concerns about you. Since we're dating, help me with studying too. A smart boyfriend is useful for stuff like this. Who's your boyfriend? Poor guy ruining his life. Away. Shoo. Damn, MS high kick is still the same after becoming a senior. Kong Hyaman specialty kicks when angry. The exam begins at 9, so I'm a bit early. But where do I go? Hello. Yes, what brings you here today? I heard there was a special exam taking place today. Are you an examinee? Can you show me your testing documents? Why is he staring at me like I'm a fraud? Here you go. You Guangik. Yes, confirmed. Take that elevator to the 9th floor. Is it here? Are you an examinee? Show me your documents. Yes, confirmed. Enter the last room in there. So annoying. Are all immortal exams like this? This room. Special testing center. Is it soundproof? There'll be blood splattering and a huge mess, but it's in the middle of Uedo. Old Force, is this the power of a world government? Alright. Stay tense. A knife could come out when I open the door. Dodging the blade could be the condition of entering the testing center. But what I know for sure is horrible things like the training I have been through are waiting. You're the earliest to come. No. This man has no hair. Please come over and show me your documents. We made anti-hair loss medicine with the materials from the White Hall a long time ago. There are even cheaper ones with side effects. That means he is. Surprise. Bald for fashion. Examinee. Here are my documents and ID. Why are there so many checkups? Number 48. Over there. It's a different test from what I imagined. Why are there desks and chairs? I never saw them during my lessons. Ah, no, who knows what will happen once the exam actually starts. That bald guy might suddenly take out a knife and come running at me. Alright, stay tense until the end. That way, I won't be surprised by anything. Yu Guangik, 20/male, currently undergoing the biggest surprise of his life. I'm sure you all brought it, but does anyone not have a testing pen? Just, what kind of bastard are you? I know, right? Yu Guangik felt something was wrong, but he could not say anything about it. I had started preparing for the exam out of nowhere, preparing for the civil service exam. If the tutoring for the exam was just a continuous blur of terrible suffering. But I gave it my all. So that I could pass the exam. However, the test will begin in 10 minutes. He arrived first and spent 50 minutes staring into space. I started off on the wrong foot. I'm sure everyone's brought one, but does anyone need a testing pen? My last hope is gone. Genius of unique lineage. Take it. A normal test purpose pen. I guess I really am taking a written test. The atmosphere is just like any other testing center. But just what are they studying? Will they give me shit if I ask them to show me what they are looking at? I've noticed it before, but everyone here has above average looks. Some could even be idols. The most attractive out of all of them would be. Man, even his hands are pretty. It's like he's shooting an ad on his own. What's with the light behind him? Ah. I hope he hasn't misunderstood. Huh. We will now hand out the test papers. Are these partitions for immortals with heightened senses? That explains why the desks are so far apart. Did I make it in time? Yes. Applicant number 50, over there. I overslept. If it was a different kind of test, they would have rejected late arrivals like him right off the bat. The immortal test seems to be more relaxed. If you are to tell anyone outside or post something online spreading information about the test, special laws apply. Quiet. Really, please let me do blade runs instead of this kind of test, so I can show talent of running my talent through blades. Huh. You've received a coin-sized puncture to the leg. Which of the following is the correct action to take first? 1. Equip a portable blood transfusion pack. 2. Identify the injury. 3. Find and take cover. 4. Apply pressure to wound. 5. Pray to God and avoid facing reality. Option number 4. Number 2 or 3 might be more important if you are not a special species, but a puncture wound the size of a coin can't be considered big. The first thing to do is apply pressure. Make it your priority to stop the bleeding. Continuous bleeding will lead to shock. Apply pressure, then find cover. If you just stop the bleeding, a small wound isn't fatal to immortals. The second problem is, at what percentage of blood loss does shock occur when losing blood at a high speed? 1.5 10%, 2.10 15%, 3.15 20%, 4.20 25%, 5.25 30%. Why are all the problems like this? I've never gone into shock before, so I did get scolded for it. Why aren't you going into shock? How much more do I have to stab you? How much more are you planning to do? He said I may be an immortal, but otherwise, I'm like regular humans. If I go into shock like normal humans do, the answer is 3. Next problem. You cannot avoid being hit by an opponent's blade. What will you do? Answer, give them my arm. I have heard about the importance of mobility countless times. Next is, I suddenly recalled a movie I watched a while ago. The main character was from a poor family and entered a quiz show with a huge reward. The character answered the questions using their life experience. This one's about poison. I know about that pretty well. This test is asking its takers how much they've used their immortal bodies, and how much they know. I've used this body to go through hellish training. No, I basically went to hell and came back. The common sense I learned from the teacher, and the knowledge I learned from experience training like crazy. All of it was telling me the answer. Training was studying. There's one more problem on the back, explain how to kill an immortal, including burial underground and water burial. It's a written response one. How to kill an immortal. This one's, well, obvious. I'm done. How long has it been? He still has an hour left. Did he give up? Those finished can leave first. You just need to flip over your test papers and leave. The bob-haired woman from the entrance. Did you read the agreement details on the test papers? This is for the agreement part. Personal information protection law. If I break the agreement, I'll be arrested by the old force, whether I'm immortal or anything else. Sounds scary. Agree. You must be a mixed blood. Yeah, well, a mix of shapeshifter and immortal. Good luck. Thanks. What a guy. How to kill an immortal, including burial underground and water burial. Suffocation, freezing, combustion, pulverization. Suffocation, freezing, combustion, pulverization. They're all dangerous for an immortal. Keep out losing consciousness by suffocation. Keep out being frozen by use of liquid nitrogen. Keep out being unable to function properly due to body-wide burns when on fire, and it not being clear if we regenerate when pulverized. When trying to think of a way to kill an immortal, there's no shortage of answers. This problem had no specific answer from the start. Most immortals have a serious lack of safety awareness, so we have to think up all kinds of dangerous weapons and situations. How much they know about what can harm an immortal's body. Explain how to kill an immortal, excluding burying underground and water burial. Our bodies can regenerate, it's not like they don't die. Once we know that, it minimizes the risk of dying without having to memorize the ways to kill an immortal. I heard he was a mix between an immortal and a human. He might be lacking in physical abilities, but his intellect could be useful. Corrections are done. Now the last is scoring the impression, his impression. Doesn't seem like an immortal. Was the first to arrive and just spaced out for an hour. Left first. Didn't bring a pen. 15 days later. Mother. I passed the civil service exam. Oh, that's nice. It wasn't just a pass either, Mother. Then what? Civil service special employment, we're notifying you that you passed in first place on the first written exam. You scored the highest. MANHWA SSI, he passed with the highest score. Yeah, right. Of course. Me too, top grade Korean beef. Am I allowed to undo my belt today? Go put on pants with a stretchy waist. I'm home. Father, you're back. Oh, son. Can you at least say hi? Korean beef, Korean beef, Korean beef, Korean beef. I knew you'd pass. Of course, whose son is he? Our son. The questions were easier than I expected. Stick teacher was more skilled than I thought. Since the results are out, the interview will be soon. It's over after the interview. What department is he going into? He'll probably start in a subordinate public enterprise under the Ministry of Public Administration and Security. I'm not sure on the exact details. Really? Mother fell for father's usual behavior, you have some too. But in my eyes, it looked like he was avoiding the question. What are the government and old force selecting immortals for? What kind of work does an immortal civil servant do? I have a lot of questions, but he probably won't answer any of them properly. Father, at least give me some tips for the interview. I don't know anything. Shortly after celebrating getting first place in the written exam, I received a text message informing me about the interview date. It was held in the same building as the written exam. Father refused to tell me anything in the end. I said I don't know. In general, interviews are about personality, so just have the proper responses ready. Whatever. This will be the real test. Son. Do well. Okay. I look good enough to debut as a celeb, EW, how arrogant are you admiring yourself in the mirror? We keep running into each other recently. Are you stalking me? Stalking? As if. I'm just passing by. Go study instead of going out just because it's the weekend. You're a high school senior. You can save those lectures for when you're a tutor again. I'm busy. Appa. Looks good on you. The suit. I know. Special employment interview waiting room. Everyone's trying hard. Should I have read more stories of interviews at a large corporation? Ha. It's the lovely little prince that sat next to me at the testing center. TSK. What's with that reaction? I'm not gonna sit next to you this time. Definitely not because I don't want to be compared to you. Number 48, Yukwangik. Yes. Wow, his face is white, and his hair's fiery red, a candle. His nickname's gotta be Candle. And next to him, huh? We've met before, right? The Nuna from the testing center. She's an interviewer now. First, may I ask what motivated you to apply? If I say, because my father told me to, I'll probably be rejected, right? For one, I wanted to test my limits in this difficult exam. And I also wanted to achieve my dream. I want to fight for the nation and its people. Then how much can you sacrifice for your allies? I don't know. That depends on the situation. Do you mean to say you don't intend to sacrifice anything? No, I'll find a practical solution instead. Was that a bit too provocative? There were more obvious questions and responses after that. Who would you save first if your mother and partner were drowning? I think I'll just save them both at the same time. I'm good at swimming. You have one bullet left, but there are 2 targets left to shoot. I'll shoot one, and I'll hit the other by throwing the gun at them. Maybe my responses weren't that obvious after all. Anyway, that's how my interview went. Haha. Son, you're fooling around too much just because the interview's over. You don't have any plans today, right? Come out. Huh. I do have plans. Really? You know what happens if you fail, right? A date with mother in the ring, and the finale is a bloodshed course. Plans with whom? I have plans with myself. I'm gonna do PPS today. PPS. Playing, eating, pooping, sleeping. I'm suddenly itching to do stuff. Where shall we go? Do you want to go hiking? It's been a while. Come out. Let's have a talk, alright. You have to be careful there. Instincts are dangerous for shapeshifters. Bad things will happen if you're overcome by them. Most likely, a violence case. What's the second most common? Rape. Do you know why we have the story about the werewolf howling to the full moon? One shapeshifter kid couldn't hold in their instinct and cried to the moon one night, and it just happened to be a full moon. If you can't hold in your desires, go scream outside. But when we see the news, the biggest troublemakers are the mages and the metahumans. I've never even heard anyone howling at night either. There's a way to curb desires. Self-control. Mother did take me hiking often after I went through my awakening. I guess she was training my self-control, in a way, through hiking. And relief. You can use up extra energy with exercise and self-control. The problem lies in relief. That's why I told you to get a girlfriend. You're gonna mold soon if you don't. Well, it's better if mold is all that happens. Genetically, you're highly prone to trouble. Are you no? An orientation for a whole month while living together, why are they like that? Since you passed, why don't you put a hold on your position and do what you want for a bit? That's, congratulations on being accepted. Warm information briefing for new employees. Please read over it thoroughly and feel free to ask me anything. 5-week training course orientation. What are they teaching me that it'll take a whole month? Dormitory living during trial period. Annual salary of $60,500,001 for new employees. Fees for physical training covered, bonus given separately, fees for culture and leisure activities covered, workplace and apartment near work provided after trial period, various welfare fees for this and that covered. Don't have to go to the military if I work for more than 18 months. My dream is to be a soldier. What's wrong with this company? Are they crazy? They're messing up the South Korean work ecosystem. Is there something you want to ask? Can I show my parents this document? Your father's the immortal one, right? If you want your mom to be sentenced to life imprisonment, then feel free to tell her. That might make some good memories, don't you think? She's saying some psycho stuff in the most adorable way. Thus, I cannot tell her. Mother, but these conditions and treatments. Intend to become the head of the Ministry of Public Administration and Security. Oh, really? As a young man who aspires to be a contributing member of society, I think this amount of ambition is necessary. I just want to lend myself to the company that has recognized my value. It's definitely not because of the money and the free house. Absolutely not. Sigh, you're all talk. It's all thanks to a smart father and a beautiful mother. Of course, it's all owing to your blood that I inherited. I'm glad. I'm glad you're my child. Seeing as I still like you despite your jokes. If there was a kid like you among the shapeshifter children. I'm really fine. Mom, I think it was good that I was born mixed. Shapeshifters have to deal with instincts, and immortals have to deal with heightened senses. Special species crime increases each year, the solution. I heard that there are shapeshifters whose instincts are especially aggressive, and immortals who are extremely sensitive. But I'm neither. My instincts are at a level where I can take care of it by using just stuff online like any normal 20-year-old. And as my immortal sensitivity is easy to dull, I'm confident that I'll do well anywhere. So don't worry. Informing you orientation bus location, Gyeonggi-do. I'm confident I'll do well. Wherever I am and whomever I'm with. It's summer now. I can finally escape the blazing hot sun and enjoy the AC inside this giant bus rented by the company. The bus, nearly halfway filled with only immortals, was heading towards the location of the new employee orientation. I didn't know at the testing center, but having gotten on the bus, I can tell at one glance who's pure-blooded and who isn't. Their unique appearance and distinct atmosphere indicate whether they're pure-blooded. I can feel it with an immortal's advanced 5 senses and intuition. Right. Just like this little prince sat next to me the last time, I ended up sitting next to him again. The only spot left was here. Mixed blood. On my father's side. I brought this to snack on during the bus ride. Do you want some? Oh, yes. Thank you. Seems like some people have already made friends. It's good to make many friends. Don't judge someone based on first impressions. In life, there are people who, despite receiving bad first impressions, turn out to be okay. The opposite applies too. I understand. You've grown a lot, son. I'm bigger than you now. Don't act like a man-child. Have you been sleeping well? Yeah, I'm fine. You're holding on well. I wasn't able to when I was a kid. How was it for you? I had trouble sleeping. Everything was fine except I could hear everything going on in the neighbor's house. How did you solve that issue? You couldn't have just not slept. Shapeshifters use self-restraint to resist their instincts. How do immortals get over their sensitivity? I have tried earplugs and sleeping masks. I didn't even touch things that weren't microfiber blankets. Nothing worked, so I ended up buying a 4-story building and making a room in the middle of it with soundproof walls. If you continue to deal with the insomnia while functioning like an adult in society, you will eventually figure out a way to control your senses. Or you can stay in the mountains for 3 years training for it. Controlling the senses, I guess it was something difficult to learn. It comes to me as easily as breathing. Shapeshifters can control all parts of their body's muscles. Controlling senses was similar to flexing my ears, or flexing just a part of my back muscle. Thank you, Mother. Everyone's gonna be sensitive, so try and find a method to deal with that too. Let's get going. Your mom's gonna be waiting for us. Tell me the solutions, please. It won't be any fun if I do. No, it'll be fun. Don't try to make life so easy. Have some shame, son. It's the 3rd time, isn't it? It's our 3rd time seeing each other. Do you know me? Huh. This bastard. Our eyes have met twice. And he tisket at me twice, too. At the test center, the interview, and now. It's my first time seeing you. Father, I can just tell by the first sentence. I see our little prince has a very bad memory.